So just as a little legal disclaimer, I did receive both of these items from Silverstone as review samples with the only expectation that I make a video on them. And in this video I'm going to be showing how to install the Silverstone LSB02-E along with connecting it to the air penetrator 120 SK ARGB fans. Now your setup may look different than mine since this is a rack mount case, but the fundamentals are going to be all the same. Something I will point out is when you install the fans, you're going to want to make sure they're in the same orientation, just so the RGB effects line up and are in the same order. So I am using the labels on the back of the fans as a reference to do orientation. In the event the labels aren't on in the same direction between the fans, you can also use the connectors and how the wires come out of the fan as a reference. But in my case, I have all the labels kind of sideways because you put the cables where I wanted them, and that has them all in the same orientation. These do have modular cables, so you're going to want to plug those all in, obviously, and get those oriented in the way you want them. In my case, I have these two fans tied together and that one's on its own. And before you do anything, this does come with some nice velcro mounts. So I would just attach those outside of the case. And it doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to make sure that I have these same side touching the Silverstone. Now you could get fancy and you could attach them in opposite directions, so hook side on one side and loop side on the other, but I'm just going to do the same on each side of my case. Oh, that is so crooked. Let's see if we can fix that. I did put a label on it since these don't come factory labeled, which is a little bit of a bummer because if you ever forget what this was, it does make it hard to figure things out. I used my fancy cable label printer, but you could just write on there with Sharpie, to be honest. There we go. Now I'm not going to take these off yet because I don't know where this is officially going to go. But the next step is going to be getting your stuff connected. And I'm going to start with power first. Now you want to make sure the power goes in this port here on the side. This is the only spot you can plug the power in that is correct. This will connect to the fan headers, but my guess is if you were to do that, you're going to backfeed power in a way that shouldn't be, and it's going to just blow up the device. I tested out of curiosity, but I don't want to blow up the device. Next, this is the power button control. You don't have to plug this in, but it is kind of handy, so I'm going to be using it. And you got the temperature probe. Same deal, you don't have to use this, but it is handy, so I'm going to be using it. The power button control and the temperature probes, those can only be plugged in one spot and in one direction, so no worries there. There we go, that was a little bit of a stiff fit. You will need a 4-pin Molex connector for your power, so if your power supply doesn't have that, you may need an adapter like this that'll convert SATA into a SATA and Molex 4-pin Molex connector. But in my case, since I have the ability to make my own cables, I just made up a Type 4 cable with the 4-pin Molex that I need. Alrighty. So the other thing that you're going to need to plug in is your RGB connectors. Now, I only need two, So I'm going to be plugging those in. Technically, you could plug all three into one. I don't know if this specifies. Let's see. RGB. So it says total 5 volt, 5 amp. I don't know if there's a limit to how much RGB you could connect to a single port. I'm just going to split it up to play it safe so I don't burn anything out. Now from there, in my case, I'm probably going to have the power pointing forwards just because that's the path that's going to flow. The most controlled too. I don't really want it up or pointing back. But from there, I'm going to work on connecting the fans and the RGB. Another fan cable here. And then yeah, just with these are 5 volt RGB connectors, so just plug it in like so. There's some arrows you want to line up, but these are keyed. The only way you could plug it in wrong is if you did something really silly like that, or you physically damage the connectors. There we go. So I have everything hooked up that needs to be hooked up for now. Oops. Oh no. Just damaged my heatsink. Oh well. The only thing left are the temperature probe and the power control. I'm saving those for last because those, step around the camera here, are going to be probably the more challenging ones to route. I also need to undo this cable management. This isn't meant to be the final. It was just kind of a temporary solution as I was waiting for my box. Oops. There we go. So it's going to look like a mess, which is how things go. But yeah, anyways, so now I'm going to just kind of shuffle that out of the way. And we're going to focus on the power button side of the box. So there's 3 connectors on this. You got one labeled USB, one labeled power switch, and then the other one labeled power switch. The USB one will plug into a USB 2.0 header. That's pulling standby power from the motherboard to power the device so it can turn your PC on using the remote. The power switch one with the gold pin sticking out, that's going to be where you plug in the power switch for your case. And then the other power switch one is going to plug into the motherboard. So this little pigtail is like a splitter basically. And it just gives you the ability to turn the PC on with either your case power button or the box itself. And with the USB, you want to make sure you plug it in the correct way. So there's one little pin that's blanked out, and that'll correspond with the missing pin on the USB 2.0 header. You want to make sure you don't plug this in the wrong way. In theory, it won't damage your computer. I tried it on a sacrificial computer. I tried plugging it in upside down and backwards and out of alignment and stuff. And it didn't cause any immediate harm. But I would recommend, yeah, just being very careful about plugging that in the correct way. Which I'm going to do now. So move the camera here a little bit. So you can see that that's now plugged in with no pins showing, and it's in the correct orientation. And next will be the power switch, which I already have loose. I'm going to pull this out real quick though, just to show something. So this was tied together further than just now. So just like a ribbon cable. This was, I think it was about like that. If you need more slack, oh no, I'm showing it in frame. So this was like a ribbon cable basically, and it was tied together like about there. If you need more slack to reach your cables, you can just kind of peel this apart gently like this, and that'll give you more length to reach everything. So I'm going to plug this back in. Alright, so I'm going to plug the one on the motherboard first. You will want to make sure you're plugging it into the right one. I also tried plugging this in the wrong way and it didn't seem like it damaged anything on my test PC. But I would just be careful because I did plug this in the wrong way the first time and I was really confused. And now with this this one with the pins, that'll plug into the power switch itself. Sorry, it's kind of hard to show. It's a cramped area. There we go. Zoom back in there now. So you can see this is the power switch for the case, and then the other one plugs into the motherboard. And now basically all you have left to do is cable management, which is always the fun part. I'm going to do that off video, but basically what my plan is going to be is I'm going to figure out the best way to orient this, and then just work my way back down the line to clean up the cables. So I'll show what it looks like when it's done. Alright, so I'm not going to win any awards for aesthetics, but as you can see it is now installed. I ended up just doing some really clumsy cable tying there with some twist ties and velcro straps, but this isn't really a case you see inside of very often, so not a big deal for me. And the last thing to do is temperature probe. In the documentation they show to like stick it to a VRM, but I'm just going to stick it through the fins of the heatsink. Now you want to make sure the heat shrink on the probe isn't allowing any of the wire to be exposed. In my case it's ever so slightly, and I don't recommend doing this, but if it is exposed you can gently just pull on the heat shrink to slide it up. Don't like pinch it really hard, just kind of slide your fingers across it like you're I don't know, like you're I don't know, just slide your fingers across it with some gentle force, because you don't want to pull on it so hard that you rip the connection loose, but it shouldn't take much. And in my case I'm going to stick it through the heatsink fins here, like so, a little further than that. Just going to let it set in there, and I think I'm going to try using a piece of this label tape adhesive stuff from my label printer just to hold the wire in place. It's not going to do much, but it'll do something. And now I'm going to turn it on, the power supply that is, and we're going to use the remote to turn on my PC instead of the power switch. Just like that, we're up and running. I want this to boot to Windows, so I gotta tell it to not. But yeah, and then from there you can just use the remote controls to do whatever you want. This one I can turn the LEDs on and off. Should be able to control their brightness. Might be a different button. But yeah, so pretty simple to install. Really the worst part is the cable management and hooking up the power button, but otherwise hopefully those instructions are helpful, and thanks for watching.